Ladies and gentlemen, the Men's Dusty Classic Tag Team Finals are set for Vengeance Day, February 15th. Another big surprise tonight was Dolph Ziggler appears on NXT 2.0 TV. For us fans, that's a huge treat and a massive surprise. Also, we had Pete Dunne up the stakes in his already set match with Tony D'Angelo. We will talk about that a little bit later on. Some exciting news regarding that. And the gimmick has changed just a little bit, Travis. And of course, we had Mandy Rose defend her NXT championship tonight, all on NXT 2.0, plus a lot more to talk about leading into Vengeance Day. This is the Wrestling Never Sleeps podcast. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is me, myself, and I, along with Travis this week. Travis, how are you doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Another NXT episode. Feels like it's always us on this, and I think we're starting to see what NXT 2.0 is all about. I'm not 100% upset about it either. I'll say that.
No, not upset whatsoever. I think, like I keep on saying, each week gets better and better and better and better as we get to learn these athletes a little bit more personable. We get to see their styles in the ring. We get to see their promo skits outside the ring. We get to see how they are developing within the NXT 2.0 program. Lots to talk about leading into Vengeance Day. I, of course, am the real Adam Anthony James Martin, the straight shoot in a suit. Oh, so fine, baby, and one of a kind, alongside Travis. Again, the last couple episodes I've been doing by myself. A lot of fun, don't get me wrong. I like doing it, but it's just always better to have you on board with me here on Tuesday nights. We can let those other guys handle Mondays. They can handle the other program. I'm not going to mention their brand name, of course. And they can handle Friday nights, but Tuesday nights belong to us, baby. That's NXT 2.0. And like I said, there's so much to talk about this week leading into Vengeance Day, Travis. A lot of main lines that I hit on the opening. The nail on the head, of course, was being the Dusty Tag Team Classic. Something you know a little bit about as a pro wrestler yourself. Now a current tag team champion, if I'm correct. Did I say that correctly on Instagram, Travis?
Yes, you did. We are the ATCW tag team champions. We regained them over the weekend. I've been a tag team champion in a couple of different promotions. Thank you very much. So tag team wrestling holds its place in my heart, and I love to see a good tag team match. I thought we got two of them tonight.
Did we ever? I asked myself this question last week when I was watching it there and recorded, and I just asked myself, how are they going to be able to top last week's tag team matches and compare it to the finals? Well, here we are again in the semifinals, two great tag team matches, like you said, and I'm asking myself the same question. How are they going to top it? But I think knowing that who's in the finals this year, and after what we saw throughout this tournament, what we've learned about both teams, MSK obviously being veterans of NXT now, I can say that, leading into 2.0, and the Creed brothers, part of the Diamond Mine, a faction that's been having issues, getting that notoriety and getting that respect and earning it. But I think the Creed brothers have taken a step out of the shadow of the Diamond Mine faction itself and really set the tone on what they're all about in this tournament, and especially tonight, inking their mark, making their statement, and putting themselves in the finals against a tag team like MSK for this year's Dusty Tag Team Classic.
We go back and we look at all the tag teams that were in this. I really think that, through the process of elimination, we've come to what's going to be an amazing finals next week. Based on the semifinals this week, my gosh, tag team wrestling at its finest. I just wish that we had a division, and it wasn't just a one-time a year tournament where we could see that, all the time.
Oh, I agree. I wish they had a little bit more depth than what they currently do right now. We remember when the Dusty Classic first came out, there were so many top teams that we were looking forward to actually win. I think going into this one, for me personally, I've always been hoping for the Creed brothers to get that win. And now that they're in the finals, there's a little bit more hope, that maybe they will come Vengeance Day on February 15th. Now, there was the Cinderella story for Blade and Inofi. They were coming to this match against MSK. Did you really honestly think that they were going to get put over in this one? Or do you think the Cinderella story just hit its mark and we had to have Creed and MSK in the finals to establish what the Dusty Tag Team Classic actually means for these athletes moving forward, win or lose? It's just huge making it to the finals.
Right. I think you hit it, dead on the head there with the finals. I think the finals have become what the finals need to be. And that Cinderella story, I think, came to a head tonight, and that was the right call. It was great to see them get there, but now we have MSK for the second time going into the finals against the Creed brothers, who have shown through this whole thing, like we've been saying, that that's where they need to be. That's where they belong. And I'm really, really excited to see that next week.
Yeah, me too. And it obviously showed within the live audience as well. Nonstop chanting. The Creed brothers are definitely over, as well as MSK. Say if MSK did not win, we still would have had a 3-letter tag team in the finals, because if you remember from last week, Blade and Inofi, after their big upset win, we're trying to think of a tag team name. I believe they came up with BBC. I'm not sure if they're going to finalize on that, but I'm actually glad that MSK did go over this week as well. So we don't have Creed Brothers versus BBC. We got the Creed Brothers and MSK.
Yeah, I think we got the right acronym there.
Definitely. I am interested to see what the Cinderella team is going to come up with moving forward, though, as well as every other team that was involved in this tag team classic. From, again, like you said, from start to finish, it's been a treat to watch as a fan. For someone that appreciates tag team wrestling, for someone that's a part of tag team wrestling and is a current tag team champion in their own right, I don't think we were let down. Even though coming into this venture, watching NXT 2.0 week by week, we were a little unsure of what to expect. Now that we actually established the teams, I think we're off in the right foot here.
Oh yeah, I was just like you, just like everybody else. I think I was just a little bit jaded from the WWE product, but I think that for whatever reason, NXT 2.0 is working. Now we're having things that catch my attention, like tag team matches and some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about. And I want to mention Grizzled Young Veterans. We didn't say a whole lot about them, but
yes,
an amazing tag team in their own right. Definitely could have been somebody that wins, or could have been somebody that went on to the finals. But I really like the story that's being told. And again, Blade and Inofi too. But I think all 4 teams have a future, and the time will tell that.
Definitely. I think Imperium has a long list of challengers now set in stone. It doesn't matter what order they come in now, moving forward. Obviously, the winners of the Dusty Tag Team Classic tournament will get that next title shot. But after that, you can do a coin flip and still have a great matchup with whoever the champions are, at that point in time. So again, something to look forward to. Always exciting. Vengeance Day, February 15th. The finals kick off. We will have our new number 1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships of the world to face off with Imperium, who was absent this week on NXT.
Interesting.
A little disappointed not to see my main man, Gunther, with his sidekicks there. The Tag Team Champions. Imperium as a whole is just fantastic to watch. But again, this week, absent. I was disappointed with that. How did you feel about Imperium not showing up, and Gunther, I should say, specifically not showing up on the Go Home show prior to Vengeance Day?
I was a little shocked too. I was a little bit taken aback, because the more promos we see, the more backstage stuff, the vignettes, whatever you want to call them, I kind of expected, okay, next is going to be an Imperium. Even if they didn't show up in person, even if it wasn't something huge, I thought, you're at least going to try to put something in place to build towards Vengeance Day, or remind us that they're a thing. If I'm tuning in for the first time and I don't know anything about Imperium or Gunther, they're a big deal. They're the top stars in NXT 2.0 as far as I'm concerned, or could at least be argued at that point. And Definitely. To not see them on there or see a mention of them was odd, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Unfortunately for us viewers at home, the live audience didn't get a chance to see him, but hopefully he makes an appearance at Vengeance Day. Maybe he appears in the title match, post-title match, whatever it may be. as we know, huge fan of Gunther. The regime stands strong no matter what, if they're not on the show or not. I look forward to seeing them hopefully at Vengeance Day or moving forward as well. But again, I had to note the fact that, three of the top stars of the program weren't even on this week's episode. And, us being fans, it is a little bit of a letdown, but something to look forward to moving forward, because now it's a little bit of mystery on what they're going to do with them next. And again, that entices me to keep on watching the program. And that's the whole point.
Right. And exactly, you said it right there. It's good that they have been able to develop in a short amount of time, because since NXT 2.0 started, we just have this like bucket full of new talent, splash in our face. And now they have the ability to make us want to see somebody else, right? Even though they're not on the program, we want to see them, and we didn't see them. So now we're going to come back. So, it's that formula, it's that age old equation that will lead to success. So I hope that they can keep that up and keep wanting us to see somebody, that's not on this week's episode. Keep us coming back next.
And that's the whole process of building new stars, which NXT 2.0 is all about. That's what I love about it as well. And this journey so far has been full of it, actually. And another star that I like to see, or a potential future star that I like to see on the program that we got last week, that we got this week, is my main man, Harland. Obviously had some words with Draco Anthony prior to his match with Pete Dunne. Nothing too set in stone on what's going on there. It's a little confusing at times. The relationship between Harland and Joe Gacy, obviously, two different types of personality. You have Gacy, the creeper, the smile, friendly, evil, sadistic type. And then you have Harland, the monster beast at the end of the leash that Gacy carries. And, as much as we did see them on TV, they didn't really have an effect on any of the programming tonight. They didn't get involved in anything other than watching Pete Dunne defeat Draco Anthony. Draco Anthony, again, if you don't know, is an up-and-coming star that we've seen more and more after a few weeks on NXT 2.0. I don't think he's officially won a match, but he's put in good efforts. And this match, though, was all about essentially Pete Dunne building his feud with another new face that we're getting familiar with. And that's Tony D'Angelo.
Right.
I like the guy. I like the character. He's got the size. He's got the look. He's got the charisma. And this feud with Pete Dunne was basically an opening for him tonight to propel that feud and take it to a whole new level for Vengeance Day when he meets Pete Dunne inside the cage.
Right.
That's a rivalry that's been building, and we've seen crowbars, we've seen cricket bats, we've seen now the steel cage going to be in play. But there's a little bit more as Pete Dunne's taking it to a whole new level after his match with Draco Anthony. Obviously, the false or the botched interference by Tony D'Angelo caused the scene from Pete Dunne that we've never really seen before or in a long time. And that's him basically filling the ring with a load of weapons, a load of gimmicks, even a toolbox I saw. Not to mention the cricket paddle and, of course, all the chairs, kendo sticks, tables, whatever you want. He threw it in there, everything but the kitchen sink. But that just created a whole new opportunity for Pete Dunne to challenge Tony D'Angelo to an already set match that they have inside a cage. And they've taken that cage match and they've added an element that we might be a little familiar with, Travis. Something we might have seen on another program with another company. Maybe a bit of a lockdown situation here. But we now have a weaponized cage match that is formulated after tonight's episode of NXT 2.0 between Pete Dunne and Tony D'Angelo. I'm not the biggest fan when it comes to gimmicks. I think it takes away from the talent in the ring. But I think for this feud, it's perfect the way that they built it up, set it up, and the two combatants that are going to be inside that cage are the perfect fit for this style of match. First of all, Travis, what do you think of Tony D'Angelo being a new face and up and coming, taking on a big name such as Pete Dunne? And what do you think of the match itself that is now set in place for us, the NXT 2.0 fans at Vengeance Day?
As far as Tony D'Angelo, I've enjoyed what I've seen of him. I haven't seen a lot of him. The real first time that I've seen him was this whole the funeral bit that they did for Pete Dunne. But it was it Pete Dunne?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think it was Pete Dunne. Yes.
Right. So that was my kind of introduction to him, and I really like it. I think that he's got the ability on the mic. I think he's got the ability in the ring. He's got that presence to be right where he's at, and to be working with somebody like Pete Dunne, who I don't think you can argue that Pete Dunne's anything that anything less than special. He's got it, and he's going to continue to get bigger and better the more he gets these opportunities to not necessarily maybe work with the younger people, but he's going to go off to the main roster someday and really, I think, have the opportunity to grow there. But as far as these two in a weaponized cage match, again, you're doing good tonight. You hit it again on the head. As far as I'm concerned, gimmicks can take away from a match if it's not the right place, right time. That I hope that this doesn't just become a hit people over the head fest, or whatever. Strategically used in a match, make it make sense. It's weird that it's a cage and weapons, but if they take the weapons and the cage, you can count the cage as a weapon, and put it into their match in a way that can make sense and isn't overblown, isn't overused. I mean, it could be an instant NXT classic. I really do believe that, because it's different. It's a lockdown thing. But, if I look back at lockdown, I've seen a lot of matches where they just took the weapons and hit people. That's because they had about 65 people in the ring at the same time when it was on TNA. So, don't make it a death match or an extremely hardcore type thing. Make it what it is. It's a blood feud. These two hate each other. Now, I guess maybe that would mean that they would use weapons all over the place, but let these be the weapons. Let's throw them off the cage. Let's grab something every now and again and make it mean something. Because if you hit them with weapons over and over and over again, nobody cares about them getting hit with weapons. So then they're just doing it for no reason, and it hurts. There's no reason to keep doing it if the fans can't register that it hurts. And back to the match that we've seen tonight, I think, interestingly enough, to me, and where I hope it's going, is I think it did its part for two different storylines. Of course, the one that we just talked about, and with Gacy and Harlan kind of watching on and having their little promo backstage, you got to wonder if this Draco Anthony is going to be somebody that kind of gets taken under the wings. Is Gacy going to have his own little faction, or is it going to remain Gacy and Harlan? Because Anthony looks like somebody. He can work in the ring, right? But I think we texted in the group chat. He was very hesitant and almost scared, like deer in the headlights look, when he had to do just a 2-3 line promo. Somebody like Gacy, who can really talk and has that presence, can help him with that. Maybe help him grow comfortable and find his character. So maybe being in a little 3-person group there. I like what they're doing with Gacy and Harlan, and that's going to allow that to draw out. And, Harlan at some points, obviously, I think, unless something crazy happens to this WWE, but, I can see him kind of breaking off and doing his own thing, within a year or two. But I think they could have a nice little run as a little trio. I love the little dark storylines, get the Wyatt family-esque feel.
Yes.
But I think it can be spun in its own way and be very intriguing and just be good television. So maybe that's where they're heading there. So this match could have been a lot more than just filler, like it might appear on the surface.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like filler to a certain degree, only to really build up the D'Angelo and Pete Dunne feud itself. But like you said, maybe there is a side project that NXT 2.0 is working on, trying to fit more programs in for a guy like Gacy and Harlan, who obviously have this unique presence to them. Right. They bring their own special vibe to the show itself, which is more or less a family-friendly, kid-friendly show nowadays. In the last few weeks that I've watched, I've noticed that it's upped its gear a little bit to cater to more of that demographic that, everyone thinks that wrestling or promotions are looking to engage with on television, in that ratings war. Right. Everyone talks about or thinks they know what they're talking about. But for me, I like that little bit of an edge that they bring, even though they're not really doing much physicality on the show itself. We still get to see them on the show. We still get to feel their presence, which is more important to me than watching them compete. Because if I can feel you, I believe in you. And by seeing Gacy, he's a little psychotic. Right. He's a little out there. He's like the Mad Hatter almost, or a new version of Waylon Mercy. Despite what everyone says about Bray Wyatt being that version, I think this is more of a similar version to Gacy and Mercy. So all smiles outside the ring, serious business inside the ring. And then again, when he doesn't need to be serious, he's got the backup of someone like Harlan. So for me personally, I like to see them stick together as a tandem rather than a trio. But Draco Anthony does need something moving forward. He does need a mouthpiece for him if he plans to stick around in this business. He's got to get those jitterbugs. He's got to shake it off. You know what I mean? And everyone thinks getting in front of the camera or doing a promo for them should be fairly easy, but it is not, as we both know. I'm sure our first episodes, first ever podcast or your first ever promo, or me being in front of a large group of crowd, I wasn't so confident. I wasn't so comfortable. Right. But in order for young talent to get over, they have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. So I think he's slowly on that route. Obviously, he's got the presence in ring. He's got some talent, obviously. Otherwise, he wouldn't be with NXT 2.0, and we wouldn't see him, attack Pete Dunne and lay out some offense in the match that they had tonight. Even though he didn't go over, he showed a stronger presence, a stronger showing that he did last week and the previous week and the previous week before that. So I think they're slow burning him, even though he's not got to win.
Like you said, with the promo or just being in front of people in general, talking in front of people, the only way to get better at it, it's a baptism by fire approach. You just got to do it. You got to bomb. You got to eat a shit sandwich every now and again, and you just keep going whenever you can, and you're gonna get better,
pal.
Right? You got to get better. You'll get better the more you do it. Draco Anthony definitely needs that experience, and I don't know if he's one of the first kind of products of this movement of we're not going after people from the indies. We're making our own. And I know they've done that with select few people before. And I don't think that they're quite at the timing right now. Wouldn't make sense because I don't even know that new group of people has even had much training. But I think we're going to see that a lot in NXT if they don't give them time to develop. If they're too in love with their look or too in love with what they're doing in the ring, then we're going to get somebody like this whose personality isn't necessarily up to par with the rest of their ability.
Right.
Whereas when you bring in somebody from the indies, you might have somebody who's just glaring and just dripping and oozing charisma and personality, but then ring might not be where it needs to be, right? So I think we'll see some people come in that they get better with either in ring, get better with their personality as they go through NXT. And I guess at the end of the day, once you get there, it's sink or swim. So
exactly.
We'll see if he gets better, and I hope he does because I enjoyed his in-ring stuff. I thought he has, like I said already, he has a look. He's a big guy. He's just got to find him in the wrestling business.
Exactly. Now you mentioned guys, not so much coming from the indies over to NXT. My next topic of conversation for us, Travis, is a guy that came over from the indies, another company as well. Someone that had the ability in ring and already on the mic. He's now just essentially bringing a lot of experience and a lot of entertainment for us NXT 2.0 fans. And you got to know who I'm talking about in terms of LA Knight, baby. He's had a crazy feud going on and building up for quite some time now with a guy by the name of Grayson Waller, who I've now grown to really like as a heel, a top heel. I consider him a top guy in NXT 2.0. They've had a restraining order against LA Knight. LA Knight has not been able to touch Waller, hasn't even been come close to him yet. They put the big man Zonga in front of him tonight. Obviously, LA Knight had to go over tonight to continue this storyline and make it worthwhile for our interest as well, for that potential factor of these two actually colliding in the ring one-on-one sometime down the road, something that I'm really looking forward to because I think the two of them together in the ring will be fireworks. They can do it over and over and over again. 9 times out of 10 or 9.5 times out of 10, it's going to be fireworks for them. I don't think the two could have a bad match from what I've seen so far. And Grayson Waller, obviously being one of the newer faces of NXT, a guy that didn't also come from the indies. So it's good to see that he's up to par with someone like LA Knight, who's already established himself elsewhere and just brought that talent over to this company in this division of WWE. And, help those younger talents like Grayson Waller get up to that next level. And feel like they're on par already. With the restraining order potentially out of place, we're not sure yet. Obviously, like I said, LA Knight went over Sangha tonight, the bigger man, who kind of looked like a mix of like Braun Strowman and Omos, just in terms of size and what he was wearing. Not quite sure where his skill level is compared to Braun Strowman, but I definitely know he is a better talent in ring than Omos is. I think you could probably agree with me on that one.
I do.
Next week, we potentially at Vengeance Day could either see LA Knight being arrested, or we can potentially see LA Knight versus Grayson Waller. I don't know what they're planning on doing, if they're maybe setting this aside and waiting for WrestleMania to come around for these two to actually fight. But in your mind, do you think it's bad business to hold off something that's this hot already? Or do you think they're doing a really good job with a slow burn storyline between LA Knight, Grayson Waller, not allowing them to really touch each other other than Waller, the few times that he's interfered or, jumped LA Knight per se. Personally, for me, Travis, I like to see him square off sooner than later. I don't want to hold this off any much longer. But again, if they do it right, it can mean bigger things, better things for both athletes, the company itself, and of course, us being the fans getting to watch that match happen eventually. So what did you think of the match tonight with Sangha and LA Knight, the build up in this feud? And when do you expect us to see these two guys to finally get their hands on each other and collide inside the ring one-on-one?
I think the match did exactly what it needed to do. It's kind of serving as a catalyst into what's going to have to be these two, again, finally facing off against each other. Grayson Waller was somebody, again, that I didn't know a lot about. Back when he wrestled AJ Styles, instantly, that was somebody I fell in love with because he has it. Just plain and simple. But this storyline of a restraining order, and I don't know how I feel about it. I thought it's fine, but then tonight you have, well, if LA Knight wins, the restraining order's over, or is it, or maybe, or whatever's going on, and it's interesting how it's going to take the cops a week to come arrest him for restraining order. And if there's a restraining order, aren't you supposed to be a certain feet, for a certain amount of distance away? So why was Grayson Waller even down at ringside? So, but that's just me and looking at it from too much of a real world point of view, I guess. And I got to remember, this is wrestling, pal. So
it's not wrestling, it's entertainment, pal.
That's fair. I screwed the pooch on that one, didn't I? But I think that, again, is doing its job. I want to see them two wrestle, no matter how goofy the storyline is, no matter how many restraining orders or whatever's arrests, anything that's going to happen. I think that they're working towards it. I think that it's going to be sooner than later. I don't see any choice unless they just completely drop the whole thing, which would be a nightmare.
That'd be terrible.
I would love to see it somehow come to fruition at Vengeance Day. There's an amazing card lined up already. I think, it seemed like every time they went to commercial, I saw a new match. I'm like, oh, that'd be good. I want to see that. So yes. I'm looking forward to next week. And this would just be kind of the cherry on top.
Definitely. I think an extra little bonus additive to the event that's already set for success. And it's something I already look forward to.
Right. Something that would put Vengeance Day over the top. And since you already have such an over the top lineup, don't announce it. Is he going to get arrested? No. I don't think they even have an authority figure right now, but it'd be nice to find one. Shawn Michaels could just do it. Come out and say, you know what? The restraining order of BS is dropped. Tonight you're going to get in the ring with LA Knight, and there we go. Right?
Exactly. That's what they need, a little kick in the ass, so to speak, in terms of that. They need that William Regal figure.
Right.
His presence was very important to the show on setting matches and making sense out of all of it. And, taking out the BS and adding in the realism to it, like you said. I even heard one of the commentators during the match say, hey, doesn't the restraining order work both ways?
Right.
In terms of Grayson attacking LA Knight last week, him being at ringside this week. Those are the little key factors that I focused in on too, the realism part of it. But the entertainment side of me is just like, yeah, I want more. I can't wait to see these guys get in the ring now. Oh, the restraining order might be lifted. I'm not sure yet, but now I have to tune in and see. And I was already going to tune into Vengeance Day. And like you said, this will just be a little cherry on top of the card.
Right. And we all love surprises, and the surprise doesn't always have to be somebody showing up that you don't expect. That surprise can be a big match like this. AEW shows that. WWE over the years has shown that. So I'm calling. I want Grayson Waller versus LA Knight next week.
I'm with you on that one. But you did mention surprises. You did mention surprises. For the amount of stars that we've seen come over from Raw or SmackDown over to NXT, there's been a few quite good names that I've really appreciated coming down and spending the time with this younger talent, like Finn Balor, being a prime example of that. Someone that we don't really get to see on the main roster, someone that has a lot of capabilities, someone that is a former champion in many different divisions and within WWE, someone that's accomplished anything and everything but the NXT World Heavyweight Championship. The world made his debut on NXT 2.0 TV tonight, and I'm talking about DZ. That is right, one half of the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler, made an appearance on NXT 2.0. So we might not get that special appearance next week on Vengeance Day, but we did get it tonight, Travis.
Yeah, and honestly, again, 100% surprised. I had no idea, and that's good sometimes. Of course, it would be Dolph Ziggler, poor guy that doesn't get the advertising like an AJ Styles or whoever's going to NXT. But he got the pop. He gets the reaction no matter where he goes. People love him for whatever reason. Just this, and he even jokes about it. 99 out of 100 matches might not go my way, but you know what? I think it's a good thing for NXT. It's going to be something that's talked about. It's going to be a way to just elevate whatever they're doing there with whoever. And the reason I say it that way with whoever is because once we get into this NXT Championship Summit, I think we're going to talk a little bit about how confusing it was and who it really hurt in the end.
Yes, 100% agree with that. Obviously, Dolph Ziggler made an appearance for the contract signing that never happened between your NXT World Heavyweight Champion of the World, Braun Breaker, obviously Rex Steiner, and of course Santos Escobar, the leader of Legado del Fantasma. Obviously, Braun was ready for the setup. He reminded us that these contract signings don't go so well typically in past times that they've done this sort of gimmick or this sort of promo or segment on the show, whether it being Raw, SmackDown, another company, 10 years ago to current day. It just never goes well for usually the face. Someone gets put through a table, and obviously that was evident. But before we get to that, like you said, Dolph Ziggler made his appearance. Unfortunately, in my opinion, he made his appearance during their segment. I thought he was going to involve himself a little bit more than what he did, rather than just sit there and talk.
Right.
I mean, he's great on the mic. He's great to listen to. He's entertaining on the mic.
Right.
But for me, this personally felt flat, especially when they were joined by a fourth veteran of NXT, a fourth superstar, a fourth contender for that NXT championship, and a former champion in his own right, Tommaso Ciampa. So we had the champion, we had the challenger for next week, we had the former champion Ciampa, and we had one half of the Dirty Dogs, former world heavyweight champion in his own right, Dolph Ziggler, all in the same segment. And you mentioned hurting talent.
Yes. When you bring out a Dolph Ziggler, that screams, with the other two in there, that screams triple threat, right? That screams, let's make this over the top. Vengeance Day is going to be something we can't forget. Triple threat, right? And then you bring out Ciampa. Now you're like, holy shit, fatal four-way match. Let's do it. But then you have Ciampa and Ziggler kind of talking to each other. You have Braun Breaker talking to Ziggler, talking to Ciampa. And Escobar's over here like, donkey. You know what I mean? Like in the movie Shrek.
Enough's enough.
Right. So in the end, what was hurt there was that there should have been two separate segments, because you could have put Ciampa and Ziggler have their own segment, and you could have went along and done a little bit more with this signing. Now, yes, at the end, Escobar was the one that was, standing tall with his guys, with Phantasmo, and they were doing their thing with putting them through the table, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know that made up for the fact that he played not second, not third, but fourth fiddle in this whole thing.
That was my violin for the sad songs, because he seemed a little lonely over in that corner. Like you said, he felt left out, and eventually he did stand up and go, "Hey, what the heck's going on here? This is my time. This is my opportunity. Why are you guys literally, whether it be kayfabe or not, taking away my opportunity?
Right.
To get myself over, going up against Braun Breaker, who is the biggest thing in NXT right now. It really stole the spotlight from the challenger. It tells me in advance or foreshadows that obviously Santos Escobar is not going to be the guy to defeat Braun Breaker. Unfortunately, I think Escobar is a great title contender. But honestly, realistically, do we see Braun Breaker losing this championship anytime soon? No.
And again, yes, like you said, this does solidify that. And I'll be 100% honest, this isn't a match that I was caring that much about. I don't think it's going to be a bad match, but it wasn't something that catches my attention. Braun Breaker is close to selling me on him, but I'm not quite sold. Escobar, kind of the same thing. And I was really looking forward to that triple threat or that fatal four-way and seeing where that was going to go in tonight's episode, and just kind of it was dropped. It wasn't anything that it made me want to see this match even less, if that makes sense. I
agree with that 100%. I'm distracted now. Now I'm thinking of other possibilities. What's
now
next for Braun Breaker?
Right. Now I'm thinking of what I wanted to see instead of what I'm going to see. So that summit, I think, backfired for NXT.
Yeah, I think for the most part, this was like one of the only flat segments on the whole show, whether it be a match or a promo or something backstage, other than, something that we're going to talk about very, very, very briefly, and that's Miss Sleepyhead, whatever her name is. Lindy Lou and the Sulu gang and the Who's from Whoville choo-choo train, all aboard them. Boredom.
all aboard them.
But back to the championship match. As much as this took away, I'm still looking forward to Braun Breaker and Escobar next week on Vengeance Day. It did just take away a little bit for me, but
I personally hope it delivers and
other things.
Yes. I hope it delivers and proves me wrong and gets me a little bit more on board with these two. But it's definitely not the match I'm looking most forward to. I think that I don't know what I expect of it. I don't find myself caring about the championship.
No, exactly. I'm more invested in the Dustin Tag Team Classic Finals than I am in this World Heavyweight Championship match, which normally would not be your case if you're a promoter or a promotion. You don't want your tag team champions to seem more valuable or than the World Championship match itself. You don't want any match to overtop that championship match because he's your champion for a reason. He's the guy you're running with.
Right.
Obviously, Braun Breaker has a future ahead of him. He's got that Steiner rasp to him. He's got the aggression like Scott and Rick does. He reminds me more of Scott, not physically, but just emotionally.
He's yelling everything. I don't think he talked at all during his promo. It's like listening to a 50 Cent song.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
Calm down.
But again, the NXT championship shouldn't fall behind anything, and it's at least third on my list because I want to see the Dusty Tag Team Classic Finals, and I want to see the Pete Dunne match, Pete Dunne and D'Angelo. So
yeah, and now they're competing with LA Knight and Grayson Waller potentially as well.
Right.
So that's on top of my list too. Again, like I said, the only thing that really fell flat on this episode tonight was that segment.
Right. And it wasn't because of the performance of the talent. It was because of how confusing it was. Why was it combined like that? Why did they even come out? You know what I mean? To me, that's why it fell flat, was because I don't know what they wanted to do with it.
No. It could be, Ziggler and Ciampa. It could, it was just a bit of a mess with the terms of the writing on how they wrote it and how they presented it. Obviously everyone in that ring is very talented, but again, when they all came together, like we originally talked about, it just took away from the main objective. I think what they were trying to achieve, it took away any momentum for the build up for the Vengeance Day title match. And it left a lot of confusion, even though it left excitement for potential matchup. Now that Dolph is there, it still had more confusion, I feel, than excitement. Because again, like you said, it was just like hairspray all over the place. Something that was not all over the place, though, was our women's world title match. We had a bit of a disarray, but it was actually just a ploy by one smart Mandy Rose, who was our women's NXT champion. Obviously, Kaylee Ray has been tormenting her last week. She dumped spaghetti on her. She threw cake in her face. She basically held her compadres, of Toxic Attraction captive in the vehicle last week when she drove away. She beat the crap out of Mandy Rose. She forced a title match this week instead of Vengeance Day last week. So it was very unlike NXT, the way that she was asking or kind of acting, I guess you could say, in the way that she wanted it. But again, that's their style. Kaylee Ray, I keep on saying her name wrong. It flows better the other way. But Ray, obviously a savage. She has her objective. It's very clear. The storyline is very driven. She wants championship gold here in the US because she's had success and she's held titles over in the UK. So she's coming over here to prove a point. In order to do that, she's got to get through the women's champion, Mandy Rose. Unfortunately, Mandy Rose is the wrong place at the wrong time with the belts. But Mandy Rose was able to come away with a win tonight. Very surprising. As again, the whole brawl before this match was basically a setup, to get certain people kicked out of the building and for the Toxic Attraction partners there to show up and interfere in this match. Again, another match caused by interference to go over. Mandy Rose retains the title, and now we're looking for something. We're going to see the women's tag team titles on the line, but what is Mandy Rose going to do next moving forward? She lost potentially her top contender. Maybe they continue it on because there was interference involved, but at the same time, I've kind of lost interest now because she went over 1, 2, 3 in the ring. What were your thoughts on the main event? Do you feel this was the best way for them to close the show? And what do you think of Mandy Rose's performance overall as a women's champion for NXT moving forward?
Yeah, I can't say that I hate either one of these women. I think their performance is right where it needs to be. Mandy Rose is, she's shot up the scale as far as what her potential was and kind of where she's getting to. Did not like the end of the match. I think we've talked before so much with interference and all. I don't think it happened a lot tonight.
No.
Been better with it, but when you have something at stake like a championship, and of course this was going to happen, and but to me, if you're going to have interference and it's a title match and it's on TV, live TV, let that be the reason that it's over, right? Does that make sense? So if she got pushed off the top rope and some kind of other dirty thing happened, 1, 2, 3, then you can continue the feud. But it's like you said, do we now lose Kaylee Ray as a top contender? Because yes, there was interference, but at the end of the night, it was 1, 2, 3 due to Mandy Rose's finish. So you're almost like, let's move on. So it's an interesting take on it as far as where we go from here. I don't know. But I think that we move on to number next.
I think so too. I think Kaylee Ray, needs to build herself back up. She needs to go through a gauntlet of some sort of contenders or challengers as well. And
which is a shame because I find myself I really like Kaylee Ray. I like the build. I like the segments beforehand. I think this is she's somebody that has a future. I really believe that just based off the little bit of time that I've seen her.
She's just a badass all around.
Right.
And it's just a good mesh between, the bitch type of Mandy Rose's character and persona, and I'm Queen Bee, and just her mentality and her vibe that she presents, and then you have the complete opposite of chaos. In Kaylee Ray, that snaps off the handle, can disrupt any type of program on the show itself. Any given moment, she could be attacking you. She could be trying to take your title. She could be trying to take your head off with that baseball bat. She's a bit of a loner, But tonight she had a little bit of a backup at the end of the show as well. Someone that was potentially looking for a future tag team partner, and someone that, had already had someone in mind and set in stone, potentially asking to be her partner in the tournament. And that had to be someone as crazy as she was. And that person, that woman, my opinion, the best woman on the roster, despite not being the champion, is Io Shirai, was looking for a partner who might have found one in Kaylee Ray. If she's looking for crazy, if she's looking for chaos, she definitely found it. If she's looking for someone as almost as equally, if not equally, as talented as her, she might have found that partner by coming to the rescue tonight and helping Kaylee Ray, avoid any more further damage from Total Attraction before the tag team match next week and, the ongoing feud that might be continuing on. But I like the blend. I like the team. I like the idea, if that's what they're doing.
I think that's the best way to go from here. Let's take Kaylee Ray, let's put her in the tag team, and let's go that way, and then we can bring her back to the heavyweight title later. That's, to me, that gives me goosebumps thinking about that, because that's exactly where it needs to be, and that's just booking done right, I think.
No, 100%. And they did a lot of that tonight on the episode, other than, the title picture on segment falling a little flat.
Other than the main event picture.
yeah, other than the main event picture, tonight was really well booked. I think they built up these storylines. Even though we didn't get to see them live in person, we still got to see Carmelo Hayes talk about Cameron Grimes. We see Cameron Grimes promo talking about going to the moon again. I gave my comments about both of them last week. Me now being a big fan and really wanting to see Carmelo Hayes develop more into a champion role for the North American title and build the value of that title up as much as he can before going on to the World Championship title picture. Less of Cameron Grimes' persona for me, as I think he takes it over the top too much.
It feels like it's supposed to be almost comedic, but then they also put a serious side to it. It's like when you're doing that 50-50, the audience doesn't know what to feel. I get a kind of a clownish vibe with it, but then I also get kind of like a JBL, or Rags to Riches, or I don't know how to take it. And Cameron Grimes is a great worker. I enjoy him, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see where that does go. And as far as, the North American Championship and Hayes, I think that he's doing a great job with making the title mean something.
Exactly.
I like it when the person or the athlete or the wrestler or whatever you want to call them makes the title mean something. It does so much more for the show than when the title makes the athlete mean something.
100%. And Carmelo Hayes hasn't even been in the ring to perform over the past few weeks. All he's done is promos. He's come out to the ring with his sidekick. He's done, vignettes, promos, and he's probably one of the more over guys on the whole entire show without actually having to wrestle in ring or perform in ring.
Right, and
So
that's a rarity. Right, that's a rarity this day and age. It really
very
is.
rare, very rare. There was a few more action or spots on the show itself. My least favorite talent on the show, Travis, would have to be Wendy Chu. She can go back to Whoville with Lucy Liu and all the other people that belong over there. As I said last week, if I'm her opponent, I just wait for her to fall asleep in the middle of the ring, pin her 1, 2, 3 quietly, and hightail out of there and find some real competition. But Tiffany Stratton is someone that we can talk about on a serious note, because not only does she look like a young version of Charlotte Flair, she performs like her in the ring. She's got the ring gear almost as well. It's very identical, very similar to how Charlotte Flair started out as a heel when she transitioned from Daddy's Little Good Girl to, the Queen herself. I like what I see so far. She's got the look, she's got the talk, she's got, anything and everything that WWE and especially NXT 2.0 will need right now for the women's division. And I think potentially she's going to be a future star, whether she be a face or continue on to be a heel. Someone that we have to consider potentially, coming after that title that Mandy Rose is holding. Wendy Chu can go away. She can go back to sleep. She can hibernate with the Bears all winter long and, forget to come back in the springtime for all I care. But Tiffany,
that's definitely Wendy can chew away and get a new gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. This is her new gimmick.
Oh, that's true. And
she repackaged herself for this.
Unfortunately, she needs to go 3.0.
She needs to go to 3.0.
To, I think, the point we're trying to make here with Tiffany Stratton, even being a casual viewer, I think people can see when there's somebody that's special, somebody that's going to have it that might not necessarily be there right now. And I truly believe that that was something we could all see in Charlotte Flair. Like, we knew that she was going to go somewhere based off more than what her last name is, just because she can do stuff in the ring that most people can't. I got parts of that tonight with Stratton. Like we were talking before we started recording, and like you just said, those things are there. She's still green. She's still learning. And I think that there's going to be, a rocket ship strapped to her as soon as she can find out who she is. I don't know that she knows who she is yet. One thing that irritated me was what kind of set her off was, "You broke my nail." I don't know why that stood out. I had to say that. I had to put it out there and see what you thought. That was, out of the whole night, I remember that, and it pissed me off because she has that presence and that ability in the ring where I'm like, damn, this woman, like, she can go. She's good. And then she did that little thing. And that's what I mean by finding who she is, because that shouldn't be something that stands out. You that one thing to negate all the good stuff that you had. And maybe it's just me that it irritated, but I don't know. I think when she, like I said, when she finds who she is as a personality, all that in-ring ability is going to just line up perfectly, and she's going to go, and not to steal from Cameron Grimes, but she's going to go to the moon.
She's going to go past the moon.
Yep.
She's going to go to Mars.
Right.
Something like that. I think it fits her now because, again, she's still trying to figure out who she is, and for all we know as fans, or especially if you're just watching today, she's a little prissy girl.
Right.
She's the high maintenance. Don't touch me, don't look at me the wrong way, or also I have to go home and shower, feel dirty kind of girl.
Right.
What I mean?
And so that makes that part make sense, the whole Vinell thing, but that's not a gimmick that's going to get her where her potential can get her.
No. She
can be a badass. I can tie you in a pretzel and, do whatever I want to do and move up the ladder that way. So I think that this is a temporary, let's see how you can handle this. Let's see the pressures of being on TV. Let's see the pressures of performing live in front of people at this level. If you succeed at this, then we're going to slowly transition into something that we can package, something that we can promote, something that we can, put you against a Mandy Rose or whatever we need to do to get you in that picture, in that part of NXT 2.0.
100%. And, I could see someone, you mentioned Mandy Rose, I could see someone, Mandy Rose, getting really hot or heated about a broken nail right now with her persona, her character. Tiffany Stratton, like you said, she's more of that badass, or she's potentially able to be that badass, like a Charlotte Flair mixed with a Raquel Gonzalez, or, mixed with a Rhea Ripley type of mentality with the talent and ability of Charlotte Flair. Somewhere down the road, not yet, because again, like you said, she's greener than my screen behind me. But she will
greener than good shit.
Now, with that being said, Travis, next week I'm not going to be in Canada.
Oh, you're going to be?
I will not be in Canada. I will not
Sunshine.
be in Ontario. I'm going to be in the sunshine state of Florida, baby, with our host from the most, Jared Never Sleeps himself. I'll be downtown Miami watching this with him. I hope that you're able to watch it with us, because we probably will be going live for all you listeners and viewers and watchers out there and fans that look forward to these NXT reviews and our conversations about the program itself. Because more than less than just give you the results, we're going to give you our opinions. We're going to give our thoughts. We have a professional opinion on the other side of the screen, being Travis. He is a pro athlete himself, current tag team champion of the world himself. So I'm really looking forward to seeing his reaction to the finals of the Dusty Cup Tag Team Classic for the men's side. And again, who's going to face up with Imperium? We have Grayson Waller potentially matching up with LA Knight. We have Pete Dunne and Tony D'Angelo in a cage-sized weaponized match. We have the women's tag team NXT championships on the line. We got so much. We got the main event, the title picture there with Braun Breaker and Santos Escobar, as we talked about earlier. And, there's just so much going on in NXT right now that just wants to keep me watching and watching and watching. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Not only the program itself, but the review after with us here on Wrestling Never Sleeps. Travis, where can we find you on social media to tap into your personal life, to find out more about your wrestling career and what you do behind the screen itself? And again, for any wrestling fans in the West Virginia area, make yourself, a little bit more knowledgeable. You can go out to these shows if you have any upcoming showings or events or defenses now that you have anything going on. Let us all know. And, we're happy to help and support any which way we can, Trav.
Appreciate that. You can find me on Twitter at It's Liller Time. You can find me by searching my name, Travis Liller, on Facebook. That's where you're going to see a lot of the shows promoted. I'm more of a Facebook heavy user, just my generation, I guess. On Instagram, it's Coach Liller. So, and you can actually type Coach Liller into Facebook. I'll pop up there too. Because my shoot job, teacher and coach, and then my side hustle is being a weekend warrior every now and again.
There you go. Well, defending champion in your own right. Congratulations again. Bada bing, bada boom. You next time you should have the belt on the show if you can.
I was gonna go grab it, but right after I hit record, I remembered that it was in my car, and I didn't go do it.
It's all good. Next time, maybe for the 15th Vengeance Day, for the Dusty Take Team Classic Finals, we can show them off for the viewers out there that enjoy this type of stuff, especially again if you're in the West Virginia area. Do you have a show coming up that maybe someone could attend or potentially tap into and getting tickets for or from?
We do, and I will tell you right now when it is as soon as I bring up my schedule here. The next show that I'm the tag team champions with is called ATCW Warpath, and that's going to be in Kearneysville, West Virginia, and that is March the 12th. So I'll still have that title next week.
That is coming up real soon, my friend. I hope you're mentally, physically prepared.
I'm ready to go.
You. The rest of Wrestling Never Sleeps always believes in you as well. And I know our viewers do too, Travis. Again, me, myself, and I, the Straight Shoot in a Suit at straight_AA, or Straight Shoot _AA. It's a new handle. Don't judge me too much for getting it wrong. I'm used to being the real animating James Martin, but apparently that's too long of a title for viewership presentation on screen. So we shortened it up just a little bit, but we did not shorten the entertainment. We did not shorten up the talent. We actually added some talent with Travis on with me this week for NXT 2.0. And of course, next week is Vengeance Day. It will be upon us. Win, lose, or draw as a fan, it's something to look forward to and something I can't wait for as well. And again, I will be in Miami, Florida with Jared Never Sleeps. And again, you follow us on all the social media platforms, Wrestling Never Sleeps, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, bada bing, bada boom. This was an excellent week. And again, I can't say more than enough, man. Great to have you back with me. I'm not talking to myself this week. Or waiting for,
it's great to be back
from the viewership. But always great conversation, always exciting, always fun. And this is just what pro wrestling and sports entertainment should be all about. Not only the performers in the ring, not only the companies putting on the shows, not only us talking about it, but the viewers, the listeners, the fans is the bigger picture. And, I just like watching this thing grow with you, man. So it's been a pleasure. Of course, I hope you have an excellent evening. And for all you listeners out there, stay tuned for the next episode, Tuesday. Bada bing, bada boom. Have a great night, everyone.
Peace.